Hey guys, welcome back to another video with your favorite Profe Lau. Today I have a special guest from, where are you from?
I'm from Argentina.
Specifically.
I'm from 30 kilometers from Buenos Aires, for a city called Moreno, on the west of the conurbano in Buenos Aires.
Do you know how to say Buenos Aires in a gringo accent?
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires. They don't even say Buenos?
No, maybe they try to say like Buenos Aires, yeah.
I like it. Okay. Well, I don't like it actually. It's very cringe. What is your name?
My name is Gustavo, and I don't know what I'm doing here.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what you're doing here. You're here to talk in English with me.
Okay.
We're going to put your English to the test. I think it is pretty damn good. Pretty good. Can I say damn? I think so. We're going to see if on the spot, big pressure, you're on the camera, if you can speak pretty good English. And we're going to see what are your mistakes that are normal mistakes that advanced speakers make. And you guys can learn from those mistakes. You could see what it's really like speaking English with a native speaker. Yeah, it's not always so perfect and easy. Sometimes you don't know how to say something or you need to ask a question or whatever. And that's normal. But we are able to talk about any topic. We communicate perfectly, and well, you guys will see. Please tell me about your English journey. If you want me to ask you a more specific question, but
no, I think I can.
Okay.
So in Argentina, when we have English in the school, in primary school and secondary school, but the level is not always the best. Like any school, you always have to be following the learning, like how the group is learning. So maybe if you want to know more, or you're actually really behind, every year you think you're not increasing your level of English. My parents also sent me to an academy to learn just private school English, but I was not really focused on that. So it was I was doing it, but I cannot say that I learned a lot from that.
And that was outside of public school?
Exactly, yeah.
So it was outside of school hours?
Exactly.
Okay, like in the nighttime?
Yeah, the class was for 1 hour, so 2 times a week. Again, but you're a teenager. I was not so focused on that.
So when you were a kid, you weren't really interested in learning English. You didn't see the point.
I mean, I was listening to music in Spanish and also in English, and I was also watching movies in the original language just with the Spanish subtitles. But even though I was so focused on other things, like studying music or studying other things, so just English was not so important to me at that moment. But for example, I was able to, then when I went to the university, there was this chance to do a test. If the test goes well, you can just skip the other levels in other years of university, if that makes sense. So I did that in the first year of university, but the problem is that was in 2009. After that, from that test to 2017, when I started traveling, I didn't speak in English at all. I didn't have the chance to practice with almost anyone, maybe just random tourists in the capital, and that's it.
Okay. So you knew a lot, but you basically just didn't practice.
I didn't practice.
Didn't speak.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And so then when I started traveling in 2017, that was the moment that everything changed, because I had to, almost the 70% of my life was speaking in English, but not necessarily native English speakers or English
native.
English native.
Yeah. That's a common pronunciation mistake. Students often say native instead of native. Native. This is the craziness of English pronunciation, because we have words like native and nature, which is with an A sound, but then you have a word like natural, which is with an A sound. Where's the logic? There is none.
There is no logic in English pronunciation.
No.
Come on.
You just have to memorize it, basically. Yeah. So don't feel bad about it, but that is a common mistake. Yeah. Another small but very common pronunciation mistake that I noticed when you were speaking, you said majority. This is extremely common. I think I've never heard a native Spanish speaker say this word correctly, because the J is a lot stronger in English. You guys are saying it like it's a Y. So you're saying majority, but it's majority. It's like J.
Oh, okay. Majority.
Yeah. It's not mayoría, like mayor. That's very soft, but it's majority.
Do you think that this is actually very helpful for me as well? Because anyone told me that, I was saying majority.
Nobody told you that.
No, and I was saying majority.
Your whole life.
Yeah, my whole life, and this is actually really helpful.
Yeah. That's another one of you're aware of this though. You struggle with nobody and anybody. Anyone.
Yes.
No one and anyone. Like sometimes he says, anyone told me that. But he wants to say
nobody.
Nadie me dijo eso. Nadie is nobody or
no
no
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone or anybody
es ninguna.
Ningún. No, cualquiera.
Ah, okay.
So you're saying,
true.
Cualquiera me dijo eso. It's like,
Yeah, it's actually the opposite that I was trying to say. Yeah, okay.
It's funny that you started traveling in 2017 because that's also when I started traveling. That's when I left the United States in 2017.
But you went to South America, I went to Europe.
Yes, different paths.
Mm-hmm. But the good thing is like you were trying to learn Spanish and you went to South America.
Yeah.
I went to Europe. That's the thing. Like I was speaking in English. Well, not with natives because, for example, I had never been in the UK. When I was traveling around Europe, I was also speaking with people that has English as a second language. Mm-hmm. And that sometimes is easy for you as a student because these people also like maybe commit the same mistakes as you.
Make mistakes.
So I found it in a way like actually easy to practice with. And my first English speaking country was Australia, and that was in the end of 2022. So after like 5 years of traveling, the rest were like other languages, and I was having conversations in English, but with not natives. Or maybe yes, but they were also tourists. Or expats.
Expats?
Yeah, expats.
Yeah, expats. I like to call them immigrants, but...
Immigrants, yeah. For us as Latinos, for them, we are always immigrants, are not expats.
It's like old white people who go, who move abroad and they don't want to think of themselves as immigrants, but they are.
Yeah, if I go to the US, they will call me immigrant, but if a person from the US goes to Argentina, he's going to say, no, I'm an expat.
Yeah. We should just tell all the immigrants to start referring to themselves as expats.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So when you're in Europe and you're traveling in countries where some of them might have a pretty good level of English,
yes.
but like, Scandinavian countries and whatever, but some of them might have a low level, maybe like lower than you, obviously lower than you now, but even back then. So did you feel like it was limiting your growth or you had to simplify your English?
I don't know if it was affecting my level of English. I had to, of course, lower it sometimes because maybe you have to simplify the words or maybe speaking a little bit like slower. I can give you an example. For example, in Albania, they not say you're welcome. When you say thank you, they say it's nothing, like in Spanish. So for me, was making sense because it's nothing, de nada. I was with people from England in Albania, and for them was like at the beginning were like, it's nothing? What we're trying to say.
As someone from the United States, we wouldn't be so shocked by someone saying it's nothing. We do have that phrase in the United States. We do say sometimes, it's nothing. But it's not like a super common response that we use all the time. But we also don't say you're welcome all the time. And that's a thing that, is taught probably in English class and in Latin American schools or whatever, but we don't say you're welcome all the time. But personally, when someone says thank you to me, I'm probably going to say, yeah, of course. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, of course. Yeah, anytime, no problem.
No worries is more Australian?
No worries is like, no te preocupes.
In Australia, they say no worries.
Okay.
Like, that's the first thing they're going to say.
Yeah, that's a little weird for me because it's almost like that's what you say when somebody is doing something wrong and they're like, sorry.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
You say no worries.
Yeah, in Spanish, we will use it in that way.
Yeah.
But in Australia, it was...
They say it when you just
instead
say thank
of you're welcome, it's like no worries.
Yeah.
Always.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. No one teach me that. For example, when I learn, you say like $1,500. Everyone is using $1,500.
Yeah.
So nobody told me that before, and it's like it's easier.
Yeah.
Just to say 1,500, 1,200 instead of 1,200.
Yeah. If a number has 2 zeros, you can probably just say 100, like 1,500. Just like you would say 800, 900, you can say 1,600, 1,700. We're filming outside and sometimes cars go by and there's also like sunlight coming on us at different weird angles. You just have to deal with that quality, but thank you for your patience. How many years were you in Europe?
In Europe specifically, like 4 years and 8 months.
Okay,
I was like Europe and Egypt and Turkey.
So how do you feel about Europe at this point? Are you like, I'm ready to explore other parts of the world, or I feel like I want to go back to Europe at some point and I really like it?
No, from now I need to go to, I'm still, since I leave Europe in 2021, I never come back. I'm just traveling in other places.
Yeah. I never went back.
I never went back. What did I say? I never
come back.
Yeah, never went back. Okay.
That's one reason it's incorrect, but the other reason is that you said it in the present.
Yes,
but it
that's
would be
true,
in the past. Yeah, that's a hard thing. If you don't know the difference between come back and go back, basically you need to watch my videos because I explain that. So I don't really want to explain it right now. It's a little complicated, but yeah, that's important to know because both mean regresar or like to return, but they are used in different ways. Okay, we moved because the sun is going down and it was right on us and it looks better like this. So by the way, right now we are in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and we're both traveling like regularly. So, I'm here for 2 more weeks and then I go to Vietnam. What are you doing?
I'm gonna stay in Thailand until mid-February and then I'm gonna continue around Southeast Asia.
Okay, mid-February.
Mid-February. February is the most complicated word in English.
We don't say the first R, so you just say February.
February.
Can you practice saying it slowly, like Feb-you-ary?
Feb, you are.
With the strong B sound. Feb. No, he's doing it like the Spanish B, which is like a VB. My camera died because it overheats, so we are picking up where we left off, and the sun is going down, but hopefully we can film before it completely goes to the ground. Okay, we were working on the word February.
Yes.
Feb. It's important to know the difference. The B, you don't use your teeth, okay? So it's just B. Feb. Nice. Feb. You, like you. Airy.
February.
Better.
February. Yeah, the month after January.
Yeah, we'll work on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are traveling around like me, basically, as a digital nomad.
Yes.
Yes, you work online. You travel, wherever you want to go and just go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
Were you doing that when you were in Europe, or were you more like staying in one place?
Yeah, I travel slow, so sometimes I stay like for 8 months in a country, or sometimes just like 3 weeks, and then a few months working as a digital nomad. Before was a mix between my online job plus the music, so it's always like about moving in a way. Yeah.
Like before you did busking.
Yes.
On the street.
Busking on the street, also playing festivals in restaurants and everything.
Yeah,
but busking was part of it. The funniest part of it.
The funnest.
No, I mean, everything is great, but busking on the streets is just another experience. It's amazing.
Did you say the funnest or the funniest?
The funniest.
This is a very common mistake. Fun is divertido, funny is gracioso. So very important in English, that distinction. The words are very similar, so it's a common mistake. Yeah.
Funnest
so it was
and funniest.
The funnest part.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the festivals as well, but playing the streets is always different experience with the people and so many like stories that happen just in 1 second. So that's really cool.
And what instrument do you play?
I play the saxophone.
Saxophone. I used to play saxophone when I was a kid.
I'm still a kid, so
maybe I will start playing saxophone again too, and then maybe we can do some saxophone travel.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
2
people playing saxophone on the street. Have I ever seen that? I don't know.
Probably yes.
But it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see. We'll talk about that later. Another mistake I noticed when you were talking, usually. Sometimes you say
usually
instead
of usually.
Usually. So it's not like oo, it's like you with a like a Y sound, like just how we say you. I always say I didn't invent English. I just teach it. I just speak it and teach it.
It's not your fault.
Yeah. I was born this way. Would you agree with me that the pronunciation is the hardest thing about English?
Yes, because also it depends of even the pronunciation sometimes is changed depending if you're talking with a person from the US or from England or from Scotland or from Australia, Not just the words, not just the slang, also the pronunciation of the words.
You can learn all the verbs and phrasal verbs and phrases and stuff that you need to speak English like pretty fluently, conversational. But you're always gonna make those slight pronunciation mistakes sometimes. Those are the main mistakes that I hear from like very advanced students is like more so pronunciation. Some small grammar things, like for example, I got another one for you. You often say it depends of, right?
It depends on.
Yeah. You know this.
We were talking about pronunciation. I think the problem is also like even if you're advanced or whatever, pronunciation is also really attached to your accent. I really want to keep my accent.
Yeah.
And I will always change some kind of pronunciation of some words.
I see what you're saying. I think you can keep your accent and still pronounce correctly like this. Obviously, it will never be exact. But when I say pronounce correctly, I just mean pronouncing just correctly enough to easily be understood. Because if a word is pronounced like, like nature, and you say nature, you're changing the sound of it a lot. Pronouncing the vowel sounds correctly, especially the vowel that has the emphasis or the stress, the syllable that is stressed in a word. Like, for example, a very commonly mispronounced word by a lot of students is politics. In Spanish, it's política. The second syllable is stressed. The second vowel is stressed. So a lot of times students will say politics, right? Because they're doing the same. But if you remember it's politics and you try to remember that word as having a very definitive ah sound, right? If that's the one sound you remember the most when you learn that word, then you will pronounce it correctly. Say any word right now.
Word.
Okay, word. It was the correct pronunciation of the vowel sound with the main emphasis. He said word. So I understood what he was trying to say.
Even if my R and my D was not
exactly
the best. Okay.
Like, even though his D was like, I almost didn't even hear any D. Based on the context and the fact that the vowel is pronounced correctly, I can guess what he's saying. You speak well, but you would sound even better if you put more emphasis on your consonants, right? So the consonants at the end of words like word or the feb in English, we often, not all of our consonants are pronounced with emphasis. Oftentimes the T's we don't even say at all at the end of words. That's an exception called the stop T. But a lot of our consonants we pronounce very strongly, more than in Spanish. I always say Spanish is like a soft, light language where everything is like a whisper, everything is like an air. There's not a lot of very strong emphasis on consonants, especially Argentinians. I always say, you're from Buenos Aires, you speak with a lot of buen aire. It's like the way that you speak Spanish is with a lot of extra air.
Yeah, actually.
Like you don't even pronounce the S's, you just say like este. Instead of este, so it's like your natural way of speaking is super airy. So English is going to be probably even harder for you than maybe a Mexican.
Yeah, okay. And actually, probably the stronger consonant we have is R.
Yeah.
And we don't use that in English. So
exactly.
Okay.
The one time that you put a lot of emphasis, we don't even use it.
Exactly.
We could keep talking all day long, but the sun is going down and we're running out of time. So we're going to wrap it up. It's been a great pleasure having you on in my video, my first special guest. I'm really excited. I hope that it won't be the last time and we could do this again someday. But for now, we're going different ways. We have different travel destinations. So I'll be making videos by myself again. But this was great.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me as well. I hope it's helpful for the people. And for me, it was really helpful. And I'm pretty sure that it's really important to learn from the mistake of other people. So usually when you learn English, you are always focused on maybe like perfect conversations, of two native speakers. I think it's actually good to maybe have an example of a person like you guys that are from a Spanish-speaking country talking with a native to see some mistakes that you can probably also do. So I hope it's helpful for you guys. For me, it was a pleasure as well. Thank you so much.
That's basically what a lot of my videos have been about or were about this past year. Basically, all the common mistakes that Spanish speakers make or students make. Yeah, it seems to be pretty helpful for people. So my plan is to make more videos just talking in English for you guys to listen to more English, to hear me talking in English. But I also would like to still talk about common mistakes sometimes because I think it's very important to be able to recognize your own mistakes because a lot of times, like what you told me, you're speaking a certain way, you're making the same mistake for years and nobody tells you, nobody corrects you. They're just like, if I can understand you, good, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, and also maybe because they try to be like polite and say, I'm not going to interrupt you with that. And maybe it's that. So it's nice actually to have someone that, no, that's not correct.
All right, so that's all for today, folks. Please subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you like this video and you want to see more like this. All right, I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye.